you mentioned experiences, which that's a big thing for us in our home. Is we constantly pray like, God, let our children really experience and encounter you, like through worship and through prayer and through time that they spend with you. Because I know for me as a child, that's kind of what marked me. Was I encountered God's presence, and like I felt Him and like heard His voice at a young age. So as I got older, it didn't really matter what came against me or what tried to talk me out of that. I was like, no, like I've heard God, like I've met with Him, so you can't take that from me. But I'm curious, are there experiences throughout your life that you kind of look back to and you're like, no, these were like defining moments for me, or these are like big moments that I was like, okay, absolutely, this is like God kind of directing my steps or guiding my path, or even as your family as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, that's it's a day-to-day thing, that when you're walking with the Lord, I don't have these magical words to say, okay, do this, and then every day forward will be, good, and your children will follow the Lord, and your marriage will be strong. It literally is a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
And knowing that there are children watching you, obviously,
Yeah.
I can tell you many times that the first thought was, I've got to get this right.
Yeah.
Because they're watching me. And there was one point in particular that I can think of that we were going through, some church stuff, and I remember I had failed in the past when things happen, and you can look back and you can say to yourself, maybe the reason that situation I was in was so bad, and I have such bad memories of it, was because maybe I handled it wrong.
Right.
And you start kind of look at it differently. So say the next time that similar situation comes along, you think, okay, I'm going to do it differently this time. And that was where I was in this particular circumstance, was that I looked back on those other times that had happened, and junk happens all the time. It just, especially if you're in ministry.
Yeah, we're messy.
Happen. It's hard.
We're just messy.
We're messy, and you're dealing with imperfect people trying to present this perfect gospel, and we fumble it. We mess it up all the time. But when I look back at that, I thought, okay, my kids are at an age where if I don't get this right, they very easily could just go off.
Yeah.
And they were watching me.
Yeah, to see how you would respond.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I did it differently. And I pressed through it. And I kept my eyes focused on God and focused on what He had called me to do, and not what was going on around me. And I really felt like God just took us right through that.
Yeah.
It really was like a Red Sea moment.
Yeah.
He just took us right through it. And so now there have been a couple of times since then that something has happened, and it's like, okay, now I know what to do.
Yeah.
Now I know. And there have been a couple of times since that my kids now, as adults in ministry,
They're starting to witness
they're
it.
starting to see things like that, and I'm able to say to them, okay, you remember when we did this? This is what we did. This is how you got through it.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them do it. And
Yeah.
it's very satisfying to see when you, as an adult, you learn from those mistakes in the past. And God will get you through anything.
Yeah.
No matter how you handle it. If you're walking with a pure heart, trying to do the right thing, even if you mess that up, He's going to work it out for your good.
Yeah.
But knowing how to handle things in a better way, sometimes it makes it just a lot easier.
It does. Well, and how beautiful then when we're able to see our kids grasp those things so much earlier in life, because
absolutely.
Your kids are adults, but they're young adults.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're getting an opportunity to live that out and put that into practice, and they're not having to wait until they're, 30, 40, 50 to be like, oh, maybe I should handle this differently.
Right.
Not that they'll be perfect, but it's just neat how God created us kind of generationally, where our ceiling becomes their floor.
Yeah.
And that's our prayer for our kids a lot. We heard this great song by I think it's Benjamin William Hastings, and it's a father's prayer, but one of the lines is that that our ceiling would be their floor. And we hear that a lot, like in a secular world, but even more so in the faith, that where we stop is just going to be a launching pad for them into what life looks
That's
like.
good.
Yeah.